we are going to look at for loops in JavaScript. So for loops are just structures that repeat, and you've used repeating structures in SAP or BYOB. It's very similar. The syntax is just a little bit different. So for loops have three parts. The first part tells me what to start counting from. In this case, it says x should start counting from 1. The second part says keep going as long as this is true. So in other words, I'm going to start x counting at 1. I'm going to keep going as long as x is less than 10. And the third part tells me what to increment, what to increase or decrement, it could be decrease, x by. So in this case, this is a shortcut way of saying x equals x plus 1. Shortcut way of saying I want to increment x by 1 or add 1 to x after every time through the loop. So again, start from here. In this case, I'm starting from 1. Keep going as long as this is true. Keep going as long as x is less than 10 in this case. And after every loop, add 1 to x. This happens at the end of every loop. So we could think about how many times this is going to repeat. It's going to repeat for the x values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 times. And then when x gets up to 10, it no longer repeats because this says only keep going as long as x is less than 10. So this should repeat 9 times. And what does it do 9 times? It's going to print out whatever name you entered in this prompt statement. So if I run this thing, it's already saved. I'll run it. It says enter your name. My name is Haas. And it should have said hello Haas 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It did. Terrific. What if I wanted to change this slightly so it actually numbered each time it said hello? I mean, I wanted to say 1 hello Haas, 2 hello Haas, and so forth. That's pretty easy to do. I could just use the variable x, which in fact is changing every time through the loop. So let me just do that. I'm going to have it say the value of x. Notice that's not in quotes. And then maybe I will put a parentheses here. And instead of putting my line break, I had a line break there, I'm going to put the line break before the x. So that is line break. So just to be clear, I have a line break that gives me a new line. Then I'm printing out x. This is not in quotes. This is going to be the value of x. Then it's going to say hello. Then it's going to say my name. So let's save this and give it a run. And again, my name is Haas. And this time, notice it counts nicely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These numbers are the values of x every time through the loop. And again, hopefully this is not too confusing. This is a shortcut way of saying x equals x plus 1. And I could certainly do that. And if I run that, you can see that, again, my name is Haas, and it says the same thing. Could I count by something other than 1? Of course. I could count by 2's, let's say. So now it's going to start at 1, and it's going to go 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and that should be it. And if I run it, this time I'll change my name to Bob. For some reason, I usually use that name second, and there you go. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Hello, Bob. So that's really all there is to for loops. Start from here, keep going as long as this is true, and then this is what to increment or what to decrement, I never know how to say that, x by. So let me do one more, and this time maybe I'll count down. So I could start, I'll make up a different variable. This time I'll start I at, could be anything. I could start at 30. And this time I'm going to count down. I'm going to say I equals I minus, maybe I'll count down by 3's. You could count by anything. So here I am counting down by 3's, and sometimes students forget to do this. If you're counting down, I want to keep going as long as I is greater than something. Because I'm counting down, and I could count down to anything I want. Maybe I'll keep going. I'll start when I is 30. I'll keep going as long as I is greater than 1. Maybe I'll make it greater than or equal to 1. See if that makes a difference. I equals I minus 3, and this time I'm going to just say, oops, I. And maybe let's just forget about the name thing altogether, and we'll just count down. Who cares about that? I just want to see what the values of I are going to be. So every time I'll get a new line, and it's just going to write the value of I. And let's save that and see what that does. So quite obviously, it's counting down by 3s because that's what I said. And it went all the way down. The last number that it counted was 3. The next number would have been 0, but then at 0, I is no longer greater than or equal to 1, so it in fact never said 0. So hopefully this makes some sense. We've used loops before, so you should be kind of familiar with them. So let me just do a couple of other things. What if I wanted to, let's say, what if I wanted to add up real quick all the numbers from 1 to 100, or from something to something? It doesn't, like, maybe I'll actually prompt the user for an ending number. So I'll say something like var end equals prompt, and I should put a number around this. Prompt, enter number. That's good enough. And let's see. This time I'm going to add up all the numbers from 1 to some ending number that they give me. Let's see if we can do that. So up to, instead of saying, instead of putting a number here, I'm going to write end. And I'm going to count up by 1s. And let's just run this and see if it'll actually at least do the basics. So let's see if it'll count up. So enter a number. So if I say 5, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I asked them to enter some number, I'm counting from 1 to whatever they enter. So now what I want to do is add all those numbers up. Well, how am I going to do that? I'm going to need a second variable, and I'll call it sum, because it's going to be the sum of all the numbers. And somehow I want to add up, oops, you always want to initialize. So I declared sum, and I'm giving it a starting value of 0. And every time I go through this loop, I want to add the value of I to sum. That's pretty easy. So every time I'm going to take whatever sum is and increase it by I. I know this is confusing to students sometimes, but you always read the right-hand part first. I'm taking sum, I'm adding the value of I, and then I'm saving it back into sum. So every time this repeats, sum is going to be added to its previous value of sum and then updating the value of sum. It's going to end up adding all the values, and at the end, I'm going to document.write again. I'll just copy this real quick. I'll say this time, I'll say the sum is sum, and let's see if that works. So I'm going to add up, let's make this easy. I'll add up all the numbers from 1 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The sum is 10, is that right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It worked. So hopefully this makes some sense. I added up all the numbers from 1 to 10. So your turn to play around with for loops a little bit. Get to work.